怒られる
I hope he doesn't scold me for showing these photos.
ちょうど6年前に10ミリオネ達成しました。
So 6 years ago, he actually achieved 10 millionaire.
ね、日本人以外初の海外の10ミリオネ第1号が張さんでしたね。
He was the very first non-Japanese person to achieve 10 millionaire.
そうしてまた昨年のフェスタでリムさんが10ミリオネ表彰されました。
Last year, another foreigner became a 10 millionaire, which is Mr. Lim in Malaysia.
ちょうど6年前に、10ミリオネになったということでね、おめでとうございますという形で松信社長と私が、張さんの家に行った時。
So 6 years ago, going back to 6 years ago, when Mr. Chang was first awarded or recognized for 10 millionaire, Mr. Matsunobu and I visited his home in Taiwan.
張さんすごく金が好きなんですよ、金色が。
Mr. Chang loves gold, the color gold.
もうすごい派手でね。
So his house, as you can see, is very,
こんな感じ。
shall we say, very gold, glittery.
なんかどこもかしこも金だらけなんですけど。
There's gold color everywhere in his home.
まあちょうどこれ私たちが花束ね、入り口のところですけど。
This is the entrance of his home when I entered his home to recognize him and to congratulate him.
こういう形でね、まあ一応ここでお茶を呼ばれて、この日のうちにね、張さんがもう一つ山を持ってると。
Mr. Cho invited us to his home, but when we visited, he said, I have another property. I own a mountain.
ナチュラルプラスでこの豪邸は買ったんですけども、もう一つ山も買ったって聞いたので、その山に連れて行ってくださいってね、行きました。
Mr. Cho said, I bought this home with Naturally Plus earnings, but I also was able to afford a mountain. And so I asked him to please invite us to the mountain so we could see it.
はい、これがね、ちょうど入り口の部分です、ね。
This is the entrance or entryway of that mountain lodge where he lives.
これちょうど6年前ですよ。
So this is 6 years ago, okay? 6 years ago.
その時にグループを集められてました。
He had a group there waiting for us that day.
ずっと山上がっていくんですけど。
So you kind of walk up the mountain path.
でその時にね、豚の丸焼きをごちそうになりました。
And he had a whole roasted pig ready for us.
ね、これお手伝いさんが朝の6時からぐるぐるこう回してるそうなんですよ。
From what I understand, his housekeeping staff were turning the spit all day from 6 in the morning.
で豚の丸焼き呼ばれたりね、あとこれが有名なんですけど、大愛ルーチャーリー、私はナチュラリープラスを愛しています。
So the Chinese characters on that stone sculpture says that he loves Naturally Plus.
これが入り口ですよね。
This is the entrance, the official entrance to the property.
まだ6年前はね、まだこうやってテントを張ってました。
6 years ago, it was not completed yet, so he still had some tents here and there.
でここがちょっとバーベキューがあったりねしてたんですけどね。
So we had kind of like a barbecue lunch out there.
はい。でその時僕が来たということでお祝いにこのなんか木で彫ったやつくれました。
To congratulate me, he gave me this kind of wooden sculpture of sorts.
なんか体が亀なんですけど、なんか首とか手が竜みたいな。
This creature has a body of a turtle and a tortoise shell, but its legs and its head is more like a dragon.
まあ分かりやすく言ったら化け物みたいな感じです。
It's kind of a monstrous creature.
ありがとうございます。
I said, oh, thank you
す
for
ご
this.
い重たいんですよ。
But it was really heavy.
こんなの持って帰れるのかなと思うぐらい、
I didn't know how I was going to get it home.
でも今東京の社長室に飾ってます。
But it is actually sitting now in my office very proudly.
はい。でこれが有名ですよね、張さんのね
And
池。
many of you know about this place, yes? Very famous, his sculptures.
この池にはたくさんの大きい鯉とかが泳いでますよね。
This pond has lots of beautiful fish in it, like koi, carp, things like that.
でそこにやっぱり泉とねルテンのね。
And he has these gigantic sculptures of our products there.
はい。ここで記念撮影を撮りましたね。
Yes, of course, we took photos out front.
そしてね、張さん動物好きなんです。
Mr. Chang love animals.
その当時6年前もね、鳩小屋が大きいのが2つありました。
He had 2 huge pigeon coops.
でこの鳩のレース出して出すんですね。
And he actually raises pigeons for racing.
ね、なんか元ヘビー級チャンピオンのマイク・タイソンもね、鳩のレースを出してるらしいですね。
From what I understand, Mike Tyson, the former heavyweight champion, he also races pigeons too.
たくさんの鳩がいてましたね。
So anyway, he has pigeons all over the place.
これが6年前でした。
So this was 6 years ago, these photos.
でつい今月のね6月の頭にまた張さんのところに 山に行ってきました。
And we just visited this same property again a month ago, or actually the beginning of this month.
はい、松信社長と一緒
So
に。
Mr. Matsunobu and I went together once again.
まあこの辺大体一緒ですよね。
So this, this area kind of looks the same, right? 6 years later.
ただ入り口にこのね、
But now
番犬がね、右と左
he
に。
has 2 guard dogs sitting at the gates, one on each side of the gate.
すっごい吠えるんですね。
They're ferocious and they bark incessantly.
もう本当吠えてうるさくて仕方ない。
They bark so much, it was very noisy.
はい、であるところパパイヤがなってたり、
And there's papayas growing there.
あとまたオブジェの前で
And his sculptures are still there.
ミルトプラスが出てからミルトプラスに変わってるんですよ。
Except one has changed because there's Myrto Plus now. He changed his Super Lutein out for a Myrto Plus sculpture.
でも今回スーパールでバージョンアップしたでしょ、ミルトプラスも。
But remember, Super Lutein was upgraded, right? We have an upgraded version now.
だからまた新しいラベルに変えるのかって言って変えるって言ってました。
So he's in the process of creating another sculpture for the Super Lutein upgrade version.
社長、ルテインのラベルが変わるために俺は金がかかって仕方ないって言ってました。
Mr. Chang said, Mr. Nagoshi, every time your company creates new products, it costs me a lot of money because I have to have a new sculpture made.
あとこれ豚です。
And this is their pet potbelly pig.
この豚食べるのかって聞きました。
I asked him, is this pig for eating?
これはペットだから食べないって言ってま
And
し
he
た。
said, no, it's our pet. We're not going to eat it.
でも張さんのことだから分かりません。
But knowing Mr. Chang, I don't believe him.
あとね、これセミナールームの前のところにね、なんかカニが入れたんですよね。
This is a seminar room that they have on their property, and for some reason there was a gigantic crab at the door.
なんかカニ専門店、カニ道楽みたいな感じなんです。
In Japan, we have a crab restaurant called Kanidoraku. They have this huge crab up front. That's kind of what it reminded me of.
でこれがまあ本当ねセミナーできるね。
So inside the seminar room, it looks like this.
はい。であとね、このオウムが喋れるんですよ。
He has these cockatiels everywhere, and they can speak.
もちろん北京語です。
Of course, they speak Mandarin Chinese.
ニーハオニーハオ言ってました。
He kept saying "ni hao, ni hao" to me.
でここでね、張さんがここで座禅組めって僕に一言言うんですよ。
Mr. Chang insisted that I do some Zen meditation here on this stone.
名越絶対いいことがあるからここで座禅組め。
He said, Mr. Nogoshi, this is a really comfortable place. You must meditate here.
3分間座禅組みま
He
し
said 3 minutes, so I did that.
た。はい。これがね今回面白いでしょ。
So isn't this a lot of fun?
ラクダ。
Like this is a camel, right?
張さんのニックネームはキャメルなんですよ。
Mr. Chang's nickname is Camel.
このラクダどこで買ったのか。
Do you know where he purchased that camel sculpture?
一緒にインセンティブツアーでドバイ行った時にドバイで買いました。
It's when we went to Dubai. He went to Dubai on an incentive trip for Naturally Plus, and he bought it at that time.
ドバイで張さんと一緒に歩いてたらね、名越このキャメル買えるのかって僕に聞いてきました。
When we were walking through Dubai one day, the streets of Dubai, we came across this particular statue, and Mr. Chang said, Mr. Nogoshi, do you think I can buy this camel sculpture?
そしたら店の人が出てきて、まあ買うんだったら売るよみたいな感じ。
And there was a person that came out from the store where the camel statue was, and he said, well, if you really want it, I could sell it to you.
ドバイから船で台湾に着いたのが10ヶ月後だったそうです。
They had to ship it in a boat, and it took 10 months from Dubai to Taiwan.
私はこのラクダにまたがって言ってましたが、もういろんなとこから撮ってもらいました。
Since I took the time to get on the camel, I had many different angles taken of me.
でもこの日ね、35度あったんですよ、温度が。
This day it was almost 90 degrees in Taiwan.
すごいお尻が熱かったです。
So my buttocks got very, very hot from the metal statue.
ね、で自分のグループが来た時に泊まれるスペースも作ってますよね。
As Mr. Chang also has these lodging rooms, these places where you can actually stay overnight for seminars.
ちょっとここで涼ませていただきまし
So
た。
I took a rest here in one of those little lodges.
はい。あと鶏も飼ってます。
They have chickens on their property,
ね、たくさんのいろんな鳥を飼って
many,
ます。
many different kinds of birds.
この鳥も多分卵を産まなくなったら多分食べられると思います。
These birds, they're for laying eggs, but I fear that once they can't lay any eggs anymore, they're going to end up on Mr. Chang's plate.
あと亀ですよね。
And turtles, they had land turtles.
もうあんまり暑かったからまた買ってやりました。
It was so hot that I decided to sit on one.
あとキジ。
And pheasants.
キジもちょっと映ってないけどね、もう15羽ぐらいいてるんですよ。
There were lots of pheasants, maybe about 15 of them.
それでは先ほどの鳩ですよね。
And this is that pigeon again, those racing
こ
pigeons.
れ卵を産ます鳩らしいんですよ。
Apparently, this particular pigeon was a breeding pigeon. See, as you can see, they're breeding, laying eggs.
鳩がどんどん増えていくんだ。
And he has many, many pigeons on his property.
でもこの間に鳩のレースに出して優勝したって言ってましたね。
But Mr. Chang said that his pigeons actually win the races.
それで1000万ぐらい儲かったって言ってました。
He made over $100,000 in winnings from racing pigeons.
でもね、それ以上にお金がかかってるって言ってました。
But he says that it cost him more to breed those pigeons. So he's spending more than he's making.
この家の上のね、緑のところから鳩飛ばす練習するんです。
So he has this little green structure above his home, and this is where these pigeons practice racing.
ね、はい。でね、こうだから涼めるところがあって、そこでもホワイトボードを置いてね、ちょっとミーティングできるようなスペースも作ってました。
And he also has these little sitting areas around the property with whiteboards, so that if you want to do a seminar suddenly, you can do so.
ウッドデッキとかもたくさんある。
All these like wooden decks everywhere.
これをずーっと降りて、もう長い切れてきた階段を降りていくんですね。
And then there's these long, long wooden steps.
そうすると川にたどり着くんです。
And then all of a sudden you end up at a ravine where there's a river.
この川はもう張さんの敷地内らしいんですね。
This river is part of his property.
暑かったので張さんが水飲めって川
It
の
was
水飲めと。
such a hot day. Mr. Chang said, "You have to drink the water from the river. Please drink, drink."
飲みたくないと言ってたんですけ
I told him, "No, I don't want to drink the river."
ど飲みました。
But I did
仕方がない。
because I had to.
はい、このね駐車場みたいなのがある横がこれになってます。
So Mr. Chang had a parking lot, of course, and a garage, and this is what the entrance looks like to the home.
ライオンが2匹ね入り口に出ますよ
They
ね。
have 2 lion sculptures now
こ
at
れ
the door.
もドバイから同じ時に買って
These sculptures are also from Dubai. He bought them the same time he bought that camel.
このなんか水がピューって出てきてる魔法のランプみたいなのも買いましたドバイで。
There's a big lamp sculpture that's also like a fountain. He bought this in Dubai too.
どんだけドバイ好きや思います。
He must really love Dubai, don't you think?
ライオンこれですよ。
So there's the lion up close.
はい、こんな感じです。
It looked like this, from flanking both sides.
ちょうど正面玄関の前ですよね。
And they're sitting right in front of his main house entrance.
張さんが言ってました。左のライオンがオスライオン、右がメスライオン。
Mr. Chang told me that the lion on the left is male and the lion on the right is a female.
ライオンはメスはたてがみないぞと。
But I told him, Mr. Chang, female lions don't have names.
でも言うこと聞かないんですよ。
But he wouldn't listen.
メスだと言い切るんです。
He insisted that it was female.
まあ何でもいいんですけど。
Who cares?
はい、これが中ですよね。
So this is what it looks like inside his home.
これね、風水でお坊さんがデザインした。
Mr. Chang is very much into feng shui, so he actually hired a professional feng shui priest to help design his home.
張さんナチュラルプラス大好きですから、カラーはナチュラルプラスカラー。
Mr. Chang loves Naturally Plus, so he decided to use the Naturally Plus colors for his house.
ブルーとグリーンの
He
ね。
uses blue and green extensively.
この右側にあるはなんか緑かあれがね大理石でできてます。
On the right side, on the right wall rather, that is actually a marble wall.
このロゴもね勝手に使いまくってます。
He uses our logo everywhere without permission, I might add.
でこの緑のこれ大理石でできてるのがなんていうんですか山をイメージしてるんですね。
So on the right side, you see that wall. It's green. It's actually marble, and that is supposed to help kind of be like the mountains, be a representation of the mountains.
写真ではないんですけど、その向かい側がねこの水色の大理石です。
It's not a picture, by the way. That's real marble. And on the other side of that wall is a blue-colored marble.
それはなんか水を表してると。
The blue-colored marble is supposedly supposed to evoke water in feng shui.
だから山と水で運気がええんだ、はははって言われてましたね。
So Mr. Chang was telling me, see, I'm surrounded by a mountain on the left and the ocean or the water on the right, and that makes my luck grow. Ha ha ha.
これがまたドバイで買ってきた。
Here's some furniture he also bought in Dubai.
ドバイばっかり。
Everything in his house seems to be from
これまた
Dubai.
ナチュラリープラスカラーのキッチンです。
This is their kitchen, naturally plus colors.
ね、こういう形でできてました。はい、
So this is the rest of his kitchen and dining room.
こういう感じでね。で最後は松野社長とやっぱりこの大愛ルチャーリナチュラリープラスを愛してますよ意思でね記念撮影して帰ってきました。
Mr. Matsunobu and I stopped by that sculpture one more time where it says, you know, I love Naturally Plus, and we had a photo opportunity right there.
やっぱり成功する人はね大成功する人はやっぱりナチュラリープラスが大好きなんです。
And what I want to tell you is this, the people who have really succeeded with Naturally Plus, they're the ones who really love Naturally Plus.
ね、だから本当にまあ ものすごい、もちろんね、6年前の10ミリオネですから、高収入は間違いないんですけども、ちゃんとこうやってね、自分のグループに見てもらえたり、活用してもらうようにね、作ってもらってます。
Mr. Chang, some of these pictures were taken 6 years ago, right? We recognized him 6 years ago as a 10 millionaire, and he uses his money to create facilities so that he can help other people to succeed and grow.
そして最後に、ね、トピックスといえば、
The last topic
ナチュラルパーティー20歳になりました。
20th anniversary of Japan.